Hello and welcome to Whole Latte Love live streams. My name's Zach and today we have a special one. So we have two very special guests, Danilo Lodi and Tiago. So Tiago, we haven't seen you on here before. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello guys, hello. I'm Tiago, I'm from Brazil. I'm the owner and the roaster and the barista and everything related to Pato Rei Coffee Shop. We have two coffee shops in São Paulo, Brazil. Yep. And thank you for having me here.
Yeah, no, thanks for taking the long trip out and
Yeah.
brewing some coffee for us today. So just so you know, we do have our comments down below live. So if you have any questions for Tiago, myself, or Danilo, if you want Danilo. No, just kidding. I love you, Danilo. But go ahead and throw those down below, and I'll be paying attention during the entirety of the stream. So let's go ahead and kind of jump into it. So what do you have for us today? So today is kind of the Brew Like a Champ part 3 on kind of taking on these competition coffees.
Yeah, we spoke before like twice about everything that like a champion or a barista competing in Brewers Cup competition goes through to create a recipe. And I worked with Tiago twice in his national routine for last year and this year. He qualified in the first round, first place this year, got third last year in general. And so we know all the steps to go through that. And Tiago not only is a great roaster, but also a great brewer itself. I think you got third place in roasting championship as well, right? Third place in Brewers Cup championship, has one of the best specialty coffee shop in the world, like one of the best roasteries in the world, just roasting Brazilian coffee. And I wanted him to share a little bit, how was this journey that we took and how normally he approached the coffee and choosing everything to brew that particular coffee. And then today from Untold, we got this Brazil caramel geisha from Santuario, and it's a beautiful coffee. It's a geisha from Luis Paulo, which is, he buys coffee from Carmel, we buy coffee from Carmel. This specific geisha was as a carbonic maceration made with the 2015 world champion Sasha Sestic, that he was kindly enough to sell us a few bags of this coffee so we can roast and have it untold. So my idea is to bring this guy here and show his abilities on how to brew and how to get into a great recipe for amazing coffees.
Yeah, because we would not want to mess up this kind of coffee.
Oh no.
No, especially given from Sasha Sestic. So it's a major name in the coffee game, I would say.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Especially within the tools that we even use today, not alone just in coffee.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Perfect. So let's go ahead and dive in the approach to this coffee, because I mean, I would be afraid to approach this coffee occasionally on these very expensive ones. So let's go for it. I know you've spent some time today with this coffee and with the grinders and equipment that we're going to be using today.
In the water.
And the water and everything that we've done. So we have done quite a lot of prep leading up to this moment. So let's go ahead and see what we've learned today.
So one thing from the competition that people don't know, and then I asked Tiago to do it, when you're on stage to present Brewers Cup, normally your coffee is already pre-ground.
Okay.
You don't go to the grinder, do it, and then brew it at a time. Because for you to do that in the competition, you need to use the sponsor grinder. And not everyone are familiar with or like them, or maybe they have a recipe with their grinder that works for that coffee, but if you change the grinder, it's not going to work for that. So one thing that for sure in Brewers Cup is different than brewing at home is the time that after you grind, that you start pouring the coffee.
Gotcha. So you put that into account.
Consideration, yeah, because if you grind and taste, it's not going to be the same as grind, wait, and taste.
You know, there are people who comes to the coffee shop and say, "Oh, when are you going to roast this week? Because I want to buy some very fresh coffee." And I said, "Oh, you can buy it now. It's 5 days, 6 days roasted coffee in the store." He said, "No, I want more fresher." And I said, "Oh, for my coffee, when I brewed for the championship, it was 6 days plus 25 minutes. It
After-
wasn't only 6 days.
Yep.
Degas.
The maximum degas.
Oh, the taste,
know,
right? The maximum
yeah.
experience you can have with the coffee.
Yeah.
So
So,
you
it's
believe-
always about days plus minutes. You know, it's not only days. It's not only minutes. It's both together.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So everything is in consideration there.
Yeah.
So you truly believe in like there's a peak for a coffee.
Yeah.
So what we're describing here is specifically like that peak. So you've tested the coffee at every time, and like this is right when that coffee peaks, and that's when I'm going to use it for competition. It tastes the best at that exact moment in time.
Each coffee process, terroir, variety, they have a different degas date. They have a different. One of the coffees that we have in Untold that is Lorena from the Terra.
Long.
The earliest that you can drink is 8 days after roast. The earliest. If you drink before that, it tastes like nothing.
Yeah.
On the 8th day, you're gonna be able to taste all the floral notes and the fruity notes of the coffee. But before, it just tastes like something roasted.
And there's not much that you can do about that either, unless you grind it, right? And you have to leave it out and let it off gas faster that way.
That's something that so when we are creating the profile, for example, we are creating the roasting profile of the coffee. We cannot wait too much to decide because normally we don't have a lot of days between the day that the competition was announced till the competition. So normally what we do is we roast the coffee and then 24 hours later, we grind the coffee like for 50 minutes, maybe 1 hour, and let it degas. With that, with a fresh one, you're gonna at least have an idea if the roast profile is correct. When we get the roast profile, that's when it gets interesting. Then we need to pack the coffee with a one-way valve, like this one. So oxygen, can you guys see it?
Yep.
Like here. So the oxygen doesn't come in, but the CO2 gets out. So, but we put it in smaller packages, and then we decide, like we taste with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we see when the coffee starts declining, and then if see the CO2, it's out of the bean already.
Gotcha. So many roasters also put this into consideration, especially at Untold, of like, hey, this is the peak time. It's already off-gassed enough by the time it actually reaches you.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the idea.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome. So with this one, I'm guessing that it's off-gassed enough.
Enough, yeah. But we have a little something.
Oh, yeah.
And this one we want like to do like 25 minutes.
Gotcha.
So he's gonna grind both, and he's gonna start doing that one. But he's also gonna grind this one, and that's the one that he used for his competition.
Yeah.
So they said that they had a little bit of a treat for me
Yeah.
today, which this is it actually.
Yeah.
So
This
pretty
coffee
excited.
was grown in the same farm we are tasting firstly, but this was the first time the producer was picking the cherries in January. In Brazil,
In
they
Brazil,
start
harvest
on
May, end of May
Okay.
till
August.
September.
Yeah.
And then he was having some ripe cherries in January. And then he said, like, he called me, said, Danilo, I have this amazing coffee, it's tasting amazing. How much you have? I have 4 kilos. Like, I cannot bring it like to US. 4
Yeah.
kilos create a.
It
What
was
happened?
free, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I said, but Tiago's still looking for coffee for his competition. Why don't you talk to him?
Yeah.
And then
And it ended up being amazing, I'm
Amazing,
guessing.
Yeah.
it's incredible. So let's.
So this is kind of how you choose a coffee for competition in the first place too. It's like you're looking for something really special, unique.
Yeah.
This one being very special and unique, and it smells special and unique too.
And expensive.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So
And luxury.
it smells expensive.
Oops. So, geishas are not from Brazil originally.
How expensive is that bean right there? No.
Wait, okay.
All right. So how many grams are we doing then?
We are doing both 15.
So both 15.
Yeah, but we are doing different water ratio.
Okay. So a different ratio
yeah.
out. Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you decided that ratio, were you just experimenting with a bunch of different ratios? Do you have a go-to ratio that you personally
I
do?
mean, I start always 1 to 15.
1 to 15 is what
Yeah,
you kind of start with.
it's where for Brazilian taste, it's in between being too strong or too weak.
Yeah, like in Brazil, just so you guys have an idea, in US the average consumer drinks coffee from 1 to 16, right? In Brazil, the average is 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's how
And-
people learn to drink coffee at home.
Yeah, and then for the viewers out there that might not know this ratio, 1 to 10 is it's pretty strong.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's basically for each ounce of coffee that you grind, you brew 10 ounces of water.
Yeah, so I personally kind of go for like a 1 to 17 when I start with a coffee. Again, that's a personal choice, I think, and then I kind of adjust accordingly. I usually start at one crazy ratio, then go to the other, and then start messing around with things here and there. But
it always depends on the roaster, how strong it's roasted. If it's too dark or too light, it will change how you approach the water content of the brew. But also there is this self palate, how you relate to coffee yourself and to the public you are attending to.
so both of you kind of have that under control because you can roast your own coffee. But for those like brewing at home or anything, are there signs of like what you're looking for when approaching a coffee based off of like maybe the color? Like sure, they're not taking like an Agtron number or anything like that at home, but they can kind of get a general gist of like, hey, it's kind of this light. I'm gonna try it this way.
I do have like, again, as I always like to emphasize, doesn't work for every coffee, doesn't work for every variation, but it works like most of the time. When I have like wash coffee, for example, I tend to do shorter ratios, so I'm going to be between 115 to 116, and I'm going to use normally higher temperatures because I wanted to extract all the sweetness of the coffee. Normally, a very light body coffee, it's a very delicate coffee, so I want to extract more solids to it. When it's a natural coffee or a fermented coffee, I tend to start between 117 to 119, depending on the process of the coffee, and then use it like a lower temperature, right? So I can get more of a florality and not as excessive amount of flavors into the cup.
Yeah, because you can start getting like
and that's
a lot
just
of
the
those
way
other
to do it,
organics.
like normally. And then, as I said, if you're doing just one serve just for yourself, try to aim for like 230 extraction time. That's gonna, because each grinder is gonna be different. I'm not gonna tell you like the micrometers that you're gonna look for. No, look for a total extraction time if you're using that for like 1 cup. Try to be between 230 plus or minus 15 seconds. Be okay if it's 245 or 215. And then with that, you're going to be able to start, okay, maybe I need more flavor. Then you maybe go finer or higher temperature or maybe turbulence. You add other variables to it.
So grinder being a huge one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
So-
definitely.
yeah.
Which
So
we're
we
using
need,
the
we need to
VS6.
grind actually.
Yeah.
We need to grind
yeah, we need to
both
grind that
right now.
now.
This
I
one
could talk
first.
all day.
As you wish, my lord.
Okay, so we're using the VS6 today with some pretty unique burrs, the iridescence on this. So I think this gives a good amount of clarity, but also introduces still a little bit of fines to really increase a lot of the body, but you have a majority of a good acidity that kind of is attributed to this unique burr itself. So it is a flat burr, but you can interchange this grinder with a conical or flat. So you can really start dialing in these coffees, which is kind of why I'm starting to really favor that, especially towards these really expensive competition coffees. I mean, I can pick a burr that will better suit what I'm going for, and then kind of tweak things using RPM. A faster grind will also you produce a little more fines as well. And then maybe slowing down that grind, we have a little more unique and defined curve when it comes to that particle distribution. So,
Yeah.
all right, so my rant is over. We can go ahead and start getting to the brew.
Definitely, yeah.
How do you get in this recipe that you're gonna make right now?
So the first thing was to get to know the coffee. So I'll always start doing my recipe. It's the recipe I do every day at home.
Okay.
So always 5 pours, always 1 to 15. So 3 times the weight of water per pour to make to 15.
Makes the math easy.
Yeah, yeah. So, but this wasn't very easy because I used to do like 10, 20, 30, not 15. So 15, 3 times 15, not that easy to sum up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but it works. So the first thing was to find the best spot for the grinder. It was my first time using the grinder, and it was very nice to see how it changed when we changed
The RPM.
the RPM, but
And then
also
the burr,
the
yeah.
burr. Yeah. So the first burr was kind of hard to find complexity and sweetness, and once we changed the burr, magically it happens.
And it's for this coffee, because for other
Yeah.
coffees, the other burr might be better. Like we were using before, the flat burr.
No, so it was a
No.
it was a conical at
Conical?
first,
Yeah.
and then we switched over to a flat.
Oh, yeah.
Both
Yeah.
were iridescent still, so both had the similar coating on it,
Yeah.
which is mainly for heat dissipation.
Did you see
and
one thing that he
everything,
did? Like from the
Oh, no,
top,
I
like
didn't.
when there's still a little bit of water, he throw it through here.
but- so a little pour. Okay.
Because as I
little
explained it the
pour
other
over.
time, otherwise like all the particles that are loose, and then you just rinse and don't throw it, they're gonna still be in the bottom.
So I need to change 2 grams. I'm sorry, guys.
No
And,
worries.
Yeah.
I tried this once.
I think it's going to be the other one.
Yeah, I think it's true.
So
I'm really
this
sorry.
First tap will just go through all the settings.
Yeah.
So now we have to go through all the settings.
I'm really sorry.
Oh, no, you're
I'm
good.
not. I was teaching in grams.
I believe this might be.
It's true.
No.
No.
Nope.
No.
There you
Yeah, there you go.
I was just letting him struggle for a little bit before I could come in and help. So
Yeah. So we are using 15 grams.
perfect. So
Yeah.
15 grams.
Yeah. You want to change?
All right. And we color coded so we didn't get
Yeah.
confused.
Mix it up,
Please,
yeah.
please don't. And we ended up trying 1 to 16 as well as a ratio, but 1 to 15 was the best one.
Okay. Gotcha.
And we are also looking for the right temperature for the water. So we tried 96 Celsius.
We're 203 Fahrenheit. That's the one that we.
Yeah. Just
But then we moved to going a little bit lower. Yeah, I'm sorry, we are not imperial.
oh, it's okay. We made a whole reel about it.
Yeah,
I actually interchange back and forth because my background's mechanical engineering, and we had to constantly actually look at both. So we're getting to our first pour. What's that?
How many? 45 grams in. How many seconds you're gonna leave it?
a third. 1 pour each 30 seconds. The main thing is I don't do a lot of turbulence.
Okay.
So dividing with 5 pours helps me to bring complexity to the cup.
Yeah. And it's a very unique technique because a lot of people don't like to use a lot of pours because then you can compromise consistency. But Tiago's
Yeah.
very used to do that.
So there's a lot to go wrong there. So what we were saying about consistency, I've seen this within a lot of brewers is like, oh man, I just want less inconsistencies, so I'm doing 3 pours.
Or two sometimes.
Yeah, or if you have something like 5 pours, you have to be pretty dead on to be consistent with that and how many rotations you're doing and where
Yeah.
you're pouring every single time.
And when you go to his coffee shop, each coffee that he serves has a preferred brew method, a grind size, a recipe, and the amount of pours.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And rotations, right?
No,
Nah,
we're not that
okay.
good. No.
Don't want to confuse people too much on that. All right, so we had our next pour at that minute
Yeah,
mark.
and for wave filters like this, with these many folds, I don't like to be too high because the coffee can be trapped in the folds.
You know, I've always wondered about that. because I've always been more of a V60 person, I would say, with the waves always confusing me a little bit with how the coffee would actually get stuck inside there.
So if you divide in 5 pours, it doesn't go very high
Gotcha.
in water.
Yeah, because you don't want to be kind of pouring into those folds
No.
necessarily
No.
either. Yeah.
Tension.
And you can almost hear how good of a pour it is too, because there's like a good like solid drop into the water bed.
And what is the screen they use for the flow?
Is the fast one.
Fast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you can interchange the screens on this flow to really dial in this recipe. So we went fast. Why did you choose the fast screen?
Because it tastes better with this coffee.
Because it tastes better.
Yeah. No, with this coffee.
With this coffee, yeah.
Because
with
I
this coffee.
was trying the medium before, medium one, and it was getting a little bit confusing in the palate, you know. I would like to have more clarity of flavor. So for this coffee, going coarser and using the fast flow helped me to have clarity of flavor.
Everyone's complimenting on your fine pour, just so you know.
Last one.
So
Last
Oh,
one.
it's already
Go
5?
ahead.
I'm
He's
sorry,
trying
I
to
didn't
trick
count
me.
it. I don't know how to count.
Yeah, he's
We don't have Sesame Street in Brazil. I don't know how to count.
Perfect. So I'm guessing you'll kind of do the same way as Danilo, where we do a couple stirs within our coffee.
Or I would be serving only 1 cup, then it.
Yeah, in the brewer's cup, when you just serve 1 cup, you just when you just like pour everything into the cup, you mix it already. But here I normally mix the layers of extraction because I'm normally splitting between cups.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, because if you're serving everything in 1 cup, it will mix the layers right away.
So for those brewing at home, if they're wanting to just pour their own cup,
I always think,
perfectly fine.
yeah, I always said about the mixing because a lot of people brew directly in their cup, and if you don't mix it, it's going to be the worst, and then the
most
strongest
of your
gonna be
coffee's already been extracted.
Yeah.
It's almost bypass of water
Exactly.
that you get. Yep. Wonderful.
Okay,
so we did a cool
This has
cup
more.
with
I'll
this too,
give
right?
to him.
Okay, thank you. See, like that's what I get as a coach.
Yes. Cheers, guys. Thank
Cheers.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you for having me.
Now I want to hear from Zach what he thinks about it.
Oh man, the texture. It's so silky.
Yeah.
I love the silkiness of this texture. The aftertaste is really pleasant as
I
well.
love the red apple and the florals of this coffee.
Yeah.
It really like bites you on the back end with that floral too.
Yeah.
Like initially you just get like that sweetness, but then as it's just like, as you're sitting there, it's like, okay, floral, and then it's like creamy and silky.
And that was another decision that we made about this coffee. It was to serve in cold cups.
We
Gotcha,
tried
because I
this,
did
Room
notice
temperature,
that.
yeah.
Yep.
Room temperature. We didn't preheat the cups because we wanted to increase a little bit of the acidity, this malic acidity that this coffee have.
Maybe that like initial sweetness too,
Yes,
instead of that being a little difficult to
When we were
figure
preheating
out.
the cup, it was like missing something.
Yeah.
The flavors were there, but there was some of
The
the
balance,
taste.
the balance of sweetness and acidity wasn't great.
And really paying attention to this water too. I mean, I feel like that's where I'm getting this amazing texture as well. Because you went with a pretty low ppm.
Yeah, around 50.
Gotcha.
This one.
And then you didn't have to buffer too much at all afterwards.
No, it's
or at
basically
all
magnesium
afterwards.
and it's a BWT filter. So it's just to keep it like low in ppm. It's more like a water designated for cupping.
Yep.
So, but it works amazing for most of the coffees.
Perfect. So we're rinsing the flow out now for our next comparison here.
Yep.
And again, we have the comments down below if you do have any questions about anything we're doing here. We're talking a lot of coffee today. A lot of Brazilian coffees, including this lovely geisha, which is not traditionally found within Brazil, right?
No, and when you found, it's not that floral.
Not that good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So this is kind of a new occurrence, right, within geishas coming out of Brazil, which I know was a huge incentive a while back, right, to kind of like introduce these geishas into to more
Brazil
places.
is already like very rich in varieties. Brazil, I think there's an institute in Brazil called ESC that they are responsible for, I don't remember now, if it's 60 or 70% of all varieties in the world, like being planted nowadays.
Wow.
So we're very rich in different kinds of coffee, but there are some other varieties from other countries that they were never being introduced in Brazil before. So, and the geisha is one of those varieties. Like, I think the first time that I tried a geisha from Brazil was maybe 8 years ago. Yeah, maybe eight or 9 years ago. It was not that long.
And many producers are growing geishas like they grow Mundo Novo
Other
and
varieties,
Catuai, and it's very different. And they're not taking attention to that.
Yeah.
So they are growing rare variety in commonplace agriculture.
Yeah.
So it's not working that well.
Yeah.
So with today's coffee, would we still consider geisha as like a rarity?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
In
like
comparison,
when
I
we're thinking
guess.
about the tree, like we normally talk about litters, how many litters a tree produce. Like a regular Catuai tree produce like 1.4 liters, something like that. And the geisha will be like 700, something like that. Depends on the country and altitude and everything, but it produces like half or sometimes even less than a regular variety.
Yeah, and that's not even comparing to Robusta.
Yeah. No, and we were talking about like hectares, like, oh, I have this hectare farm produce like Catuai, and then this same hectare farm producing geisha, the same region. Like the amount of production that you have, like a hectare producing, it's way less.
And it, like tasting all these different lots over time too that I've experienced, each lot is so different.
It is.
Every year, and even one lot next to another is going to have entirely different characteristics.
But that's what I think about competition that is amazing, because we don't use the same coffee every year.
Yeah.
You know, so you need to create a recipe from scratch, from everything, and you learn from that, and then you take this knowledge and you bring to your day-to-day as a barista and as a roaster. So it's the same thing. Like this coffee, the way that we developed the roast, the way that he developed the recipe, like we need to think about step by step, about everything. So, oops.
I forgot to. It was supposed to be 94.
Oh, okay. I'm letting it cool down. So we always have to think about that too. So for example, Tiago today, first thing that he was like, oh, I'm not finding the right flavors in the coffee. Okay, let's change the burrs.
Yep.
Which is basically changing the grinder.
Yeah.
Right? And then he started changing the RPM, right?
Yeah.
And then
And then the flow.
and then started
And
changing
then
the flow.
temperature. And then
Yeah.
the rate.
It's
How many
this and then
how many
that.
grind size did you went through?
Maybe 9.
9 to get to one recipe.
Yeah.
And how many ratios like you tried?
2.
2 ratios. Okay.
Of 16 and 15.
So some variables we were kind of keeping the same.
Yeah.
And you're only changing one thing at a time, right?
I was doing 2 because I was in a rush.
Oh yeah, we did
Otherwise-
kind of rush you today.
For the championship, I would do
One at a
once.
time.
Yeah, and this would almost be over the course of a month.
We wish.
Year.
We wish.
No,
Because like
no?
the thing that takes the most amount of time is figuring it out, the roast profile and the DS. And then after you have that, we start playing with the recipe. And then after recipe, and when I say recipe is a lot of things recipe related. When we were thinking about championship is ratio, time, which is normally by the technique of the amount of pours plus the grind size. And then what grind are we going to use? Depending on the coffee, each burr is going to break down the coffee differently and extract different flavors to it.
Yep.
And then after we get all that, we decide the water. And then what minerals we're going to add to it, or if it's going to be like some store-bought water, but it has like the right amount of minerals for that coffee. And then after that, still not over. It's the paper that we're going to use, the quality of the paper, the thickness of the paper, everything. Are we going to pre-wash? We're going to rinse or not?
Yeah, and then
As we spoke before,
down to the minute. And
Yeah.
then after that, of off-gassing. And then
Oh, yeah.
you're also comparing altitude.
No,
as
not
well,
even
right?
that. Then we have the server. Each server will add different, like if we brew coffee in this server and this server, the same recipe.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
completely different taste. It's not only the aromas,
Yeah.
the taste is different. And after we get that, there's still the cup. The shape of the cup, the color of the cup, the material, the rim.
Even how you pour from the server
Oh yeah.
to the cup.
Like some coffees you're gonna do like this, and it's gonna taste better. Sometimes you're gonna do like this, and you're gonna taste better.
Yeah.
So even that, and people are like, oh, brewers is easy. You just like brew 3 coffees. Well, if you want to do it like that, yeah, sure. But if you want to control every tiny detail,
Yeah.
that's all the steps that you need to go through.
In the championship, you can give rules how to enjoy the coffee to the judges, and I was telling them not to swear because I tried, and when I swore, there was more aroma, but there was less taste.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we break down the volatiles
Yeah.
of coffee
Yeah.
in a way that it was not like it was
In
still in the
control.
cup, but not as good as intense as we experienced before.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if one judge swears and another doesn't,
have
they would taste different coffees.
Gotcha. So you tell them it's like, do not
Yeah.
swirl.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen this within even baristas, which I'm a little bit more familiar with too. It's like what to do with crema, even.
Yeah.
So brewers is very similar. It's like, hey, these are your instructions after service.
Yeah.
This is how you're supposed to drink it. All right. So it looks like
9 more minutes.
No.
Right.
I'm gonna do it with 20.
20? Okay.
Yeah, because the coffee is 2 days off degas when it was frozen.
Okay. Yeah.
So right now we've been preparing for SCA. A lot of us here are actually going. We have some booths that we're setting up, and we have actually been using some experiments, with the kind of cups that we're using, the kind of colors that we're going to be lighting up the booth with. So this has all been kind of in practice of what we're tasting right now.
Oh, yeah.
What are we going to be up to at SCA? I just want to pick your brain a little bit because my schedule might be a little bit different from your guys's.
We were gonna be at the Untold booth
Yeah.
the whole time, like booth 537. Tiago is gonna be helping me there parts of the day, and then he's gonna be a little bit at the Varia booth as well, giving a little bit of a hand. So it's gonna be a fun. I'm also gonna be like on the 25th and the 26th at 12 o'clock. I'm gonna be at the Bombora booth with the Nucleus guys, brewing with their accessories. So it's gonna be a pretty fun show.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
And Houston's going to be a lot warmer than New York here.
Too warm, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe that's not good.
Gotcha. So,
Okay. Oh, someone used the higher switch. I love the higher switch. I think it's one of the best brew methods out there, especially if you want consistency. And we use it a lot for part of the competition called compulsory.
Yeah.
Because you bring your brew methods and you don't know the coffee, you don't know the water. You can only bring, and the grinder is the competition grinder. So you need to brew, you create your own recipe. So we normally bring like a pour over, like a fast plastic one, either like a plastic V60 or origami, like a very fast pour over method. And you bring an immersion one. And from the immersion ones, the one that has the best consistency is the higher switch.
Yeah.
now I've seen this trend. I don't know if it's just randomly on Instagram or trending for no reason right now, but they're actually taking something like a cheaper plastic one and putting it inside of a Hario switch so you can utilize the surface of a different, like cheaper plastic one inside.
But
of
that was
immersion.
something that the Hario came up after people started doing this, because they realized that glass, it has one type of conductivity, and then they launch it now as well, the ceramic and the plastic switch. You can start brewing.
Man,
Went to.
I'm so antsy right now for this next one. It smells amazing.
This was the competition cup. This is the one that
All right.
actually got him like first round, in the first place.
I feel like I should be on the other side of the counter just watching this. So.
And there's like a lower temperature, and the ratio is completely different.
Yeah. So
No, wait. Explain what you're gonna do.
do you want me to explain?
Yeah,
first?
please.
Okay.
People want to know.
So I'm doing a 1:18.
Yeah, 1
Ratio,
to 18
yeah.
ratio.
Okay,
And-
1 to 18.
Yeah,
So a little
Completely
bit,
different.
yeah, completely different.
And listen, it's the same farm, the same variety, it's the same processing.
Yeah.
Both are carbonic maceration.
Okay.
Both are geishas from Luis Paulo, from Carmo de Minas.
The difference is the harvesting time.
So
was
harvest
harvested.
time.
That one was harvested in winter last year.
Yeah.
And this one was in the summer of this year.
Yeah. Summer in Brazil.
Gotcha.
Summer in
So
Brazil,
you're-
right?
you're
yeah.
winter.
Summer in the southern hemisphere.
Yeah.
So I somehow saved a little bit of this cup,
Do
so
it. Yeah, you
I
should.
can actually
Yeah.
do
I
a little
did.
bit of comparison.
I drank it
yeah.
all.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
You can drink mine, no.
Because
no
I
problem.
really want to see this different.
Yeah. And then we are trying 1 to 17
Okay.
for this coffee, and we decided to go further because it has more to deliver.
Yeah.
It was crazy. You know?
It was like, I think, it was complex with 117, but it was not like, we're like, I think this coffee can give us a little bit more. And then like, let's try. And then neither of us were convinced that 1 to 18 was gonna work.
Yeah.
But if you don't try it, and that's why I say like, oh, you see, like you're watching this live, you watch videos on YouTube, go test it. Maybe it's not gonna work for the coffee that you have, or equipment you have, the water you have, where you are in the world. And that's why we need to challenge ourselves to always try something. And then we try one day, and it was like, not even close. It was like years apart of quality. Like we bumped up so high on that coffee. It was amazing.
And we didn't even change the temperature of the water or anything like that, right?
Now
No.
we are going to
201.
201.
201. Okay.
But I was using 2 kettles.
Yeah.
For the first 2 pours, it was like this, and then it was 10 degrees below for your Fahrenheit.
Gotcha. So we're dropping temps.
Yeah.
Mid
On the it was 4 pours, correct?
Yeah.
So then there was like the first 2 was 94, and which is 201, and the last 2 pours were 92.
9.
90, which is kind of like
Yeah.
188, I think.
Yeah. 10.
Gotcha.
10. kind
Oh
of.
yeah, I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly.
So
the
2
Fahrenheit.
different kettles,
Yeah.
2 different temperatures, 5 pours.
Yeah.
4
Four pours on the. So that's a lot to do during a competition.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a.
Actually, I had an
You really
idea.
need to put that into
no,
muscle
I'll-
memory.
You just take it out.
I will take it out and open the lid.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be able
That's
to
the sneaky trick.
Yeah.
To it.
Yeah. Let's.
start brewing.
All right.
So. Come on. The first one is going to be 60. So it helps me to bring temperature. It's more water than I used in the first pour in this one.
Okay.
This was 45. This is 60. And then I will let it bloom for longer, for 45
seconds, yeah.
So what kind of deciphers like how long you're going to bloom
Freshness.
something? Freshness.
One of the
Yeah.
things, yeah.
Okay.
The other, it's the kind of coffee that you have as well. Like a darker roast, you normally let it bloom for longer.
And then we are going to 70 to 130. And it's very fast. Oh, you can open it.
Lid out, and I already put a 90 here, so let's check what is the reading one. Still 94, but okay.
We have,
Air it out a
we
little
have
bit.
time, yeah.
Okay. Or do you? It had to be right at the minute point, right?
Yeah, on
Okay.
130.
Oh, 130. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Each 45 seconds because I was doing 3 pour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah, in the
I need
competition.
time
So-
to come
There
later.
you go, buddy.
Thank you
So
very
that
much.
is
sir.
also another deciding factor.
Oh, yeah,
definitely,
as well,
yeah.
because you could make like a really complicated 6 pour.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't be able to do that 3 times,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah,
With
but
consistency.
like that's why you practice. You need to practice it several times.
So would you consider what you would do for competition the best way, or is that limited per what
No.
you need to do?
No, it's the best way.
It is
It's
the
the
best
best way to brew that particular coffee. Like that's what we're trying. It's not like a personal preference. We
It's
do
the
not go
expression
with
of the coffee.
bias.
Yeah.
No.
We go for the absolute. We go for science. We go what is need to be done for this cup to be the best possible. So there's nothing to do with the competition allow us. If it's necessary to brew one and then the other and then the other and then the other, we're going to do that way. It's not only about the competition setting. You need to be prepared to brew the best out of this coffee. You just grab the rules of the competition and you know, oh, I cannot grind with this particular grinder on stage. Let's say, oh, the Eureka grinder is the sponsor, but I prefer the taste of this coffee on the Varia. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grind backstage on the Varia, and then I need to count, okay, I need those minutes. So you need to think always about the structure of the competition just to let the coffee express itself to the best. But it's never about, oh, I'm brewing the best for the competition. No, it's the best that that coffee can be. In roasting, in brewing, choosing the water, grind, recipe, brew method, everything. Cup. So it's to put the coffee into like the highest possible.
So I was waiting until 3:15 to take.
Gotcha. Just to take that off.
Oh, and then now we wait until how long for him to smell without swirling? It was 4, right?
Yeah, kind of 4:30.
Yeah, like 4:30. You're gonna come here,
And then
you're
I
just gonna smell
smell
from
this.
the
Okay.
server, from the carafe.
Gotcha.
Without swirling, please.
Okay, without swirling.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm on the judge's side at this point, right?
Yeah.
This is what you would be serving.
Yeah.
Okay.
If
I
you-
could go all the way
Yeah.
around and just. And then you're also during this competition talking about the coffee itself, right? Its background and.
You need to explain. Like the most important part is explain why did you choose this coffee, what are the variables are bringing to the cup, and also explain what they're going to feel. And they're going to evaluate aroma, so you need to tell the aromas of the coffee, flavor, aftertaste, acidity, body, sweetness, and kind of like the balance of the cup.
So it's just as much as a part of like describing the coffee as like how good the coffee is. So you could have had the best coffee out
But
there.
if you don't know how to describe,
Exactly. I think that's kind of like the performance. I used to call it the theater of coffee in the shop world, I would say. It's like the second that.
If you may, please.
Yeah. For lighter coffee, you bloom for less time, a little bit less, but I normally go higher temperature.
Yeah.
So that's what I do normally.
Wow.
Right?
So I feel like it's not the same florality
No.
as before.
Hey, what about me?
This one almost comes into like a. It's like
love
it's
this
definitely
coffee.
into red fruits somehow.
Yeah.
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 He's good.
He's good. He's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
I try.
Tell him what was the descriptors that we gave to the judges. Of course, this is not the same water.
Yeah, not the same water,
But-
not the same cup, not
but-
the same.
Like tell the descriptors that we gave to the judges that we got maximum scores on descriptors.
Yeah. We are talking about cherry, fresh cherry,
Yeah.
and very ripe cherry. In the aroma was ripe cherry, and in the flavor was more like fresh cherry and honey in the taste.
So notice too how this was described as well. So there's different kinds of cherry
Yeah.
throughout this
Yeah,
process
yeah,
as well.
and there is plum as well in the aftertaste. So
Okay.
the flavor is cherry,
Yeah.
but the aftertaste is plum.
Yeah. It comes in cherry and it stays plum.
Yeah.
So this is a great kind of exercise too to pay attention to when you're trying your coffee. It's like, okay, what is the aroma like? What is the initial taste? What is the aftertaste like? And then also
then
like
even
what is the cool
The serving temperature.
serving
Because
temperature?
it changes throughout the temperature. That's one of the videos that I made a remark about how the coffee changed throughout temperature. And
Yep.
here is very important too.
Yeah, there is one taste, one flavor that is red grapes that only appears when it's cold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Only
it-
when it's cold.
Yeah.
Hot and warm doesn't show up, but when
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
cold, You feel it.
There's just some volatile acids that are so hard to perceive, and they're combined with other things that it's so difficult to really, like, your brain to even translate that.
Yeah.
Unless it's cold, then it's a little bit easier for our brain to be like, oh, whoa,
Yeah.
that is there.
And now it's almost
All
time
right.
to drink.
Okay.
7:15.
Yeah, it's drinkable.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No, no,
perfect.
Let's do
So
it.
cool cup,
Please.
7:15.
Yeah, please.
If you may,
Alright.
please enjoy.
Oh yeah, and you also have to say that to the judges, right?
There you go. There you go.
Well, thank you, Tiago.
It's good to be polite,
yeah.
you know. It's too good.
Wow.
Whoa.
Still amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. That was one of the best coffees I tried this year.
So this
Luis
one,
Paul is a genius.
it like puckers with sweetness right
Yes.
away,
Yeah.
though.
So sweet.
Yeah.
And then it just goes all the way throughout. You're so dead on with that, like that cherry. It's like a, what did you say, like fresh cherry?
Yeah.
Is like that puckering like sweetness throughout the
Yeah.
whole entire.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
when you grab like those black cherries from the
and-
market,
and-
like fresh?
And the sweetness is fruity. It's not sugary.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when you taste a very ripe
Yeah.
fruit.
It's a
this
ripeness.
kind
It's
of-
like the side of your tongue's
Yeah.
ripeness of a fruit, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what I like also about this coffee is that we if we let it, like if you grind it and make it, it's not going to taste that good. We tried. And
Yeah.
No. Like minimum 20 minutes for this coffee to show up all the flavors. And the other thing was like, with 5 days, it was still like a lot of CO2. Remember, like a lot. And on the 6th day, it was like, it's gone. And on the 7, 8 day, yeah, the complexity was there, but like it was like dialed down a little bit,
Yeah.
maybe like 5-10%. So we found like the right day of the coffee with a lot of testing.
So it's really like the ratio or how much CO2 is combined with all these like
Oh, yeah.
organic acids
Yeah.
and flavor compounds and everything that are really making or breaking it.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
Compare with the other one.
Yep.
Like you see how much more.
On it.
I mean, it's still a great coffee, but this is like more like a floral with a little bit of like malic fruit, like kind of like apple fruit.
I
But
would
this
say
one-
dead on with malic.
Yeah.
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 But this one, it's kind of like a fruit bomb, floral.
Yeah.
It's entirely different.
Yeah.
That is, no one could tell me that is like the same coffee.
And it's from the same plot, right? Is that
Yeah.
from the AMA project, which is like...
No, it's not from the Amapá.
Oh, not
It's
the
from
Amapá.
Irmãs Pereira.
Oh, yeah, it must be there. Okay.
Yeah.
Santuário Sul.
Irmãs Pereira.
Oh, okay, so no,
Yeah,
then that is a
it's-
different farm.
It's
Okay.
three different farms sided,
Yeah.
on the same hill.
And it's funny because we have like someone here in the studio that normally
who?
do the live stream with you.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that he came here just to try the coffee. I'm pretty sure because we were talking.
John, I left you some sips, here, just in case. But wow, the texture of this. If you see my cup disappearing off screen. John,
Oh my
thoughts?
god. That is super deep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very deep.
John is saying it's very deep.
Yeah.
It's very rich.
Yeah.
It feels like dessert.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a treat for you.
It is a
Because
treat.
I didn't have to share. We did, like as we said, that was a coffee that was like 4 kilos. We use it a lot to get into the right profile, into practice and everything. And that's what I have left. Like it's nothing.
Oh man.
So sharing with you, it is a gift.
Yeah,
This
If
coffee.
as it's cooling too, it's like coating my mouth with that sweetness more and more.
Yeah.
So it's not just on the sides of my tongues. Now it's just like it's everywhere.
But I can
It's
tell you
just-
like right away, this coffee, if you do immersion, doesn't work.
Yeah, definitely.
If you go too high in temperature, doesn't work. If you go too slow on the time, doesn't work. Too fast, not gonna work.
Yeah.
If you go the ratio stronger, it's not gonna work. So there's a lot of variables here that we made in this coffee to get to this point. And even now we are now using the same brew method, but we have like there's a similar flow. It's not the same cup, it's not the same, but because we know this coffee so deeply, we can make it work here.
Yeah.
You know,
but only here.
no,
Or-
but like you can make it work because
Yeah.
you practice with the same coffee over and over again.
Get to know it.
Yeah, and as I said, it's not for the competition. It's like how this coffee can taste the best that he can be, and that's the competition.
And that's what you've done with your coffee shops too, right?
Yeah. So this coffee is not available in the coffee shop because it was only 3 kilos. But I've done some omakase, like the Japanese tasting menu.
Yeah, so where it's very limited, maybe limited
You
seats, and you present
don't even
it.
choose like
No,
there's not even a
it's-
menu.
It's the chef's choice.
Chef's choice, yeah.
And I was brewing some untold geishas from
Oh, yeah.
Panama and ending with this one.
Fincadabra, Nirvana, Ellipse, and Terroir, the Trinity.
Very good coffees.
Yeah.
Very, very good coffees.
And then we are ending with this one as a dessert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like the way that it sits on your, it feels silky. It's like after you bite into like a really nice piece of chocolate, when it comes to texture and like,
Yeah.
it's like the after effects of eating a chocolate. And it's just like,
It's the sweetness of this coffee is like
yeah,
mind blowing.
wow, incredible.
And the grapes are starting.
Yeah,
open
now
up.
now the grapes, you can feel the grapes because before with warm temperature, forget it.
Looks like we do have a couple questions on here too. For lighter coffees.
I answered that one.
Oh, you did?
yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
You bloomed for less time. Okay.
Yeah, I bloom like probably 30 seconds, but I also tend to go higher with the temperature of the water,
Got it. Yep.
right, to extract all the other complexity that a lighter coffee will be missing on the roast. So you complement with extracting more. The higher temperature of water will extract more out of those
Yeah.
volatiles.
Yeah, because there's more volatiles that haven't been kind of roasted away in
Yeah.
a way.
The
Technically,
coffee's
is
less-
how we like to describe it.
It's less soluble, therefore you compensate with a higher temperature.
Yep. Yeah. So we have a lot more organic compounds that
Yeah.
we can get to.
Damn.
Wow.
Still,
Still great coffee.
still.
I am shocked.
Yeah, that's a competition coffee. That's a competition level coffee. This is the kind of coffee that I try to explain to my friends that this is the kind of coffee that that's why I love what I do, and I don't like to drink nothing less than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm picky. Yeah, I am.
You've turned me into a picky person.
Yeah.
I always thought that I was a picky person, and then I met Danilo, and now I can't even drink water. Like, so it's been a pleasure. I think one of the last questions too to kind of take home, if you had one tip for home brewers that are trying to brew at home and they're trying to kind of perfect the cup, what would that be?
My first thing is buy good coffee. Yeah, it's people want to buy coffee in the supermarket, and then with magic.
Make like this.
Yeah.
Make taste like
So
this.
knowing Danilo and knowing Untold is very important for the U.S. market. So you guys can buy really, really, really good coffee, and this is the very first step to make you really, 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 really good coffee at home.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that think that having the best grinder, best accessory will make, no. If the raw material is not good,
Yeah.
like there is a saying in Brazil, you're not gonna extract milk out of a rock, you know?
Yep.
It's impossible. You're not
Yeah.
gonna extract anything if
Yeah.
the coffee, I don't care if you have like a $3,000 grinder with a $20,000 espresso machine at home, or I don't care, like if the raw material is not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What's the tool worth if there's nothing to work with?
and then there's something that people doesn't care very much, that are scales.
Oh, yeah.
That they are very cheap, you can buy for nothing.
Yeah.
And it changes how you relate to brewing coffee.
Yeah, so
You know?
scales are very important.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's the one thing that I always recommend too. It's like have a scale. Start paying attention
Yeah.
to the different factors that are really easy to start paying attention to.
And if
Yeah.
you wanna spend, if you have to choose just one accessory to spend money on it, spend it on a grinder.
Yeah.
A kettle, you can have like a nice kettle, but like you can control that with different, like a regular kettle, a thermometer. You can control the temperature of the water. So a scale doesn't have to be like super complex with a bunch of features. Like it can be a regular scale and a timer. But a grinder,
Yeah.
if you have like a bad grinder,
I once went to a waterfall to brew some coffee. I was in a coffee farm, and they brought us to take some photos and bring coffee, but there was no grinder. It was very good coffee, it was very good water, but I had none grinder. So I was crushing with stones.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
little mortar.
Oh no.
Yeah. It works, but you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, but if you want to spend a little bit more, it's grinder. Like I like when I started as a barista, like I would have like the cheapest kettle with the cheapest scale, but like I was always like putting my money towards like a good grinder.
Yeah.
Because then that's the part that you can grab. Like you cannot grab like a bad coffee and turn into high specialty, but you can grab like a high specialty coffee and turn into your like grocery store coffee.
Yeah.
And the grinder is one of the things that's going to actually give you like good tasting notes, keeping the good stuff from the coffee.
I think that's how I kind of
What
started.
grinder
with
do you
specialty
recommend?
too.
Ooh, so many.
Right back there. I mean,
Like,
I
love this one.
I like that one.
I love the Varia.
The VS6.
The VS6, yeah. I do like the VS3 as well.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty good grinder. There are some other grinders like the Fellow Ode is pretty good.
Yep.
Like I'm thinking about like a home,
yeah.
kind of like home size grinder.
Yeah. The Fellow Ode you can always swap out with
Yeah.
SSPs for
Yeah.
more clarity as well. So
Exactly.
interchanging some burrs. So I typically look at grinders that I actually have that flexibility too.
Yes.
It's like, can I swap out some nice flat burrs and something like that?
Yeah, and there's some hand grinders that are good, but after a while you get a little tired of like every morning doing the ritual
Yep.
Yeah.
of grinding. So like at home I have like the old, and now I'm upgrading to the VS6. So like for me the grinder is always, something very important to have.
Yeah.
A good one.
Definitely.
Yeah, and then when it comes to like the VS3, like if you are looking at a hand grinder and you're on a budget, like that's the
yeah.
perfect one
That's
because
a-
it's.
Oh, the VS3.
Or I mean, Varia
Oh.
has their own hand grinder, but
Yes.
also the VS3 is like it's a really good price
Yeah.
for what it is.
Yeah, but Varia has a one that is like as a.
Oh yeah, so Varia does have a
haven't-
motor
I don't know.
motor
Yeah.
on their
I
actual
use in
hand
shows.
grinder.
It's really good.
Yeah, so we've actually used these at SCA shows,
Yeah.
and it's amazing
Because you
what that
plug,
thing can
it's
do.
USB-C.
You charge?
You charge, and then it grinds. And if the battery runs over, you just like put the handle on it.
Yeah, and then you just put the
and
hand
you
on. and
grind
it's like, oh, okay.
manually.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of the grinder.
That's the Evo.
Evo.
Yep.
It's perfect as well. So I say like grinder for me, it's really important for
Yep.
making like you don't want to like grab a coffee like this or like that and
And
ruin
cr-
just by not.
And crush on rocks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and my specialty.
How do
coffee
you guys
shop
like
days.
the VS6? Well,
Oh,
I
yeah.
love we were just talking about. We love the VS6, and we love the fact that we can change the burst because
Yeah.
we did another test like a while ago, and it was the opposite burst that actually worked better for that particular coffee. It was I think it was the Guatemala maybe.
Yep.
And we were using like other set of bursts that was not this one.
Yeah, I think that was the iridescent conicals, which is
Yes,
why we had it
exactly.
inside there. Yep.
So that's what I like it as well about grinders, that you can change the burst.
Yeah, it's like having two different grinders.
Exactly. Sometimes you have like a conic grinder and a flat burr. Instead of having like multiples, I like
Yeah.
grinders that you can change
Yeah.
a conical from
Yeah,
flat.
and this one does espresso as well.
Oh yeah.
So
tastes
that's
amazing.
that's great for having at home if you have an espresso machine
Yeah.
and you're doing brewing.
Limited on space,
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
so-
It's a little heavy.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
But it stays on the counter.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm joking. I move a lot, that's why.
Awesome. Well, if there's no other questions out there, I think we're going to wrap up here. Tiago, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you.
Danilo as
Appreciate it.
well.
If you guys can follow him, it's going to be all in Portuguese, but it's at Patorrei SP.
Yeah, so amazing shops if you ever
Yeah.
find yourself in Sao Paulo.
Oh yeah, São Paulo, Brazil.
Please come.
Please come
This-
because you're going to be the best coffees with the best food.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I'm looking forward to going there and looking forward to seeing you guys again at SCA. So if you all are at SCA Expo, we're going to be in Houston brewing at the Varia booth, and Danilo and Tiago are both going to be at Untold for a lot of that as well. So if you're going to be there in Houston, we will see you there. And if not, think that's all for today. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining us. I'm going to go ahead and
yes.
finish this coffee.
I don't have any more coffee.
Oh,
Sorry.
You can have this one.
No.
Okay. Well, we'll brew another one. Have a good one.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you.